You ever seen a wild animal beg for peace? Nah, man. They either fight, run, or rest, but they don't sit there overthinking. Praying the jungle suddenly becomes a meditation retreat. They accept the chaos because they were born in it. And weirdly, they're more at peace than most humans walking around with Spotify playlists titled Healing Vibes and Anxiety Through the Roof. It's wild how we've been trained to chase peace like it's some reward we earn after suffering enough. Like, if I journal more, meditate harder, fix every problem in my life, then I'll feel calm. But bro, peace ain't a finish line. It's what shows up the second you stop begging the world to be softer and start being okay with the noise in your own damn head. We think peace is out there, in the silence, in the apology, in the better version of our life that still hasn't arrived. But the truth? Peace is the moment you stop fighting everything inside you. It's when you stop chasing approval, stop needing closure, stop over-explaining yourself, and just sit with it. Uncomfortable, messy, loud, but real. And for most people, that silence, that's scarier than war. Most people don't even realize that their entire nervous system is addicted to stress. They're not chasing peace, they're chasing predictable panic. Why? Because it's familiar. Because the silence, it makes them feel exposed. Like, damn. If things get too quiet, maybe something's wrong. You ever sit alone in a quiet room and your mind starts yelling louder than the world ever did? That's the real problem. It's not the noise outside, it's the fact that the noise inside has never been faced. And instead of facing it, we beg for distractions that feel like peace, but aren't. Scrolling, numbing, pleasing, running, and we dress it up in spiritual clothes. I just want harmony. I just want closure. No, you want control. Because you never learned how to just sit with yourself and let the tension burn off without doing anything. That's the shift. Peace doesn't come when life finally listens to your demands. It comes when you stop performing for a world that doesn't even know what you need. It's not soft, it's not cute. It's a decision, a freaking stance. You stop negotiating with your thoughts like they're holding you hostage. You stop holding people accountable for wounds they didn't create and can't fix. You stop expecting the future to save you. You stop needing things to be perfect before you breathe again. And when that happens, you don't find peace, you become it. There's a reason people self-destruct right when life starts to feel calm. Because peace isn't just quiet, it's confronting. When the world finally stops yelling, you're left with the only voice that's ever really mattered, your own. And most people, they've been drowning that voice out for years. We're raised in a world that teaches us to be strong, but what they really mean is don't feel. So we learn to survive instead of live. We get good at faking calm while shaking inside. And the moment we feel too much, we chase comfort in the worst places, old relationships, toxic habits, empty validations. Here's what nobody tells you. You can't beg your way into inner peace. You don't get it by asking people to stop hurting you. You get it when you stop letting them define what hurts. That moment you stop saying, they need to understand me, and instead go, I understand myself enough not to care. That's the shift. That's the break. That's where peace isn't something you chase. It's something that lives inside your bones. And that means losing people. That means walking away from old versions of yourself you once swore you'd fix. It means silence. It means shaking. But it also means freedom. The kind of freedom that doesn't need to be posted, explained, or proven. It's just there, quiet, heavy, real. Peace is not the absence of problems. It's the presence of you, finally uncluttered by noise, expectation, or pretending. Most people say they want peace, but what they really want is control. They want the world to calm down on their terms. They want people to treat them right, the timing to be perfect, the pain to make sense. That's not peace, that's fantasy. Real peace is brutal at first, because it means giving up the illusion that you can fix, change, or manage everything around you. It means letting go of the story that says, if I just explain myself one more time, maybe they'll get it. Number they won't. And the more you beg for peace in places that don't have it, the more shattered you'll feel. Let me put it like this. You don't sit in a burning house and hope the fire understands your pain. You get up and walk out. You don't need closure, you need air. But that's where it gets tricky. Because stepping into peace, it feels lonely at first. You're not busy performing. You're not chasing reactions. You're just there with yourself. And that quiet will either break you or build you. And this is where you realize you've been afraid of peace because you thought it was empty. But the truth is, peace is full of space, full of breath, full of clarity, truth, and weight you didn't know you could hold without falling apart. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's not fixed. It just is. And that's enough. You ever notice how peace feels boring when you're addicted to chaos? Like you finally get a day with no drama, no texts, no expectations, and suddenly your brain's like, wait, something must be wrong. That's not intuition, that's withdrawal. Because for so long, your nervous system was wired to survive, not to rest. You mistook constant alertness for purpose. You thought staying on guard was being strong. But really, you were exhausted, spiritually and mentally burnt out from holding it all together. Here's the truth that stings. Peace doesn't show up dressed like a rescue. It shows up like emptiness. It shows up when you finally stop explaining, stop fixing, stop trying to be understood by people who were never listening. And the wild part? That's where freedom lives. Not in people finally loving you right. Not in getting the apology you've rehearsed arguments for in your head. But in the stillness. The silence that makes most people panic. Because in that silence, you finally meet yourself. And that's why some people keep running. They run toward noise, toward drama. Because the silence holds a mirror. And not everyone's ready to look. But you're here because part of you's ready. Not to fix everything, not to be perfect, but to finally stop begging the world to give you peace. And to start creating it in yourself like your life depends on it. Because it does. There's a reason begging for peace never works. Because the moment you start begging, you've already handed your power away. You're not just asking anymore. You're depending on something outside yourself to finally let your nervous system relax. And that's dangerous, because now your peace has a leash. And guess what? Someone else is holding it. You want to know why some people always look calm no matter what's going on? It's not because life is easier for them. It's because they stopped outsourcing their peace to other people's behavior. It's like this: if someone cuts you off in traffic and your whole day is ruined, then your peace was never yours. If a text message can make your heart race, or someone ignoring you can send you into self-doubt, that's not love. That's dependency in disguise. And that's what this really is about. When you beg for peace, what you're really doing is asking for permission to feel okay. But damn it, since when do you need permission to breathe? You don't owe that to anybody. Your peace is yours to take. But only if you're willing to stop chasing it like it's hiding behind someone's validation. And here's the twist. Once you stop begging, once you actually stop, you stop being so reactive. You stop bending yourself to be chosen. You stop feeling like you always have to explain yourself just to be treated like a human being. You start moving different. You start becoming the kind of person who is peace. Not because everything's perfect, but because you finally realized you don't need perfect. You just need real. You ever notice how the loudest chaos isn't out there in the world? It's in your own head. We walk around thinking if we just fix this one thing, or if this person would just treat us better, or if life could just calm down for a second, then we'd finally feel peace. But that's the trap. It's always out there, always next week, always when things get better. But peace doesn't wait for permission. It's not hiding in your bank account. It's not coming in the next relationship. It's not going to fall out of the sky when the world finally cuts you a break. Peace is right here, underneath all the noise. And the noise is usually your resistance to letting go. Let that sink in for a second. You're not really waiting for peace. You're just not done fighting yourself yet. Because the truth is, we don't just beg for peace. We cling to chaos. We hold on to pain, to guilt, to drama, not because we want to suffer, but because it's familiar. Because sometimes we'd rather replay a story we already know than step into a silence we're afraid of. That's why peace feels so far away for most people. Because it's not about finding it. It's about unlearning the belief that you need to struggle first to earn it. But damn, it's hard, right? You're so used to proving yourself, to working harder, to fixing everything, to constantly adjusting yourself so no one gets upset. You were taught that if you just do everything right, you'll finally get the reward: peace, love, respect, relief. But that game is rigged. And the moment you stop playing it, something crazy happens. The noise starts to fade. The people who fed off your guilt, they lose their grip, the urgency, the tension, the need to always be on. It all starts to melt. And for once, you're just here. Not perfect, not fixed, just free. Peace isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It just waits until you stop running from it. There's this wild thing about peace that nobody teaches you. It doesn't come from adding more. It comes from letting go. Letting go of that old version of you who thought suffering made you worthy. Letting go of the people who only come around when they need something. Letting go of the voice in your head that keeps saying, "You're not enough yet." Because here's the truth most people avoid. Peace doesn't come from fixing your life. It comes from not needing to fix anything in order to feel whole. That's a shift. That's not surface level mindset stuff. That's soul level. You stop begging for peace, and peace starts meeting you where you are. You stop chasing it like it's something you lost. You realize it was never gone. You just got too loud inside to feel it. Look, I know it's not easy. We live in a world that profits from your anxiety. That sells you solutions to problems you didn't even know you had until 5 minutes ago. That tells you if you're not constantly improving, then you're falling behind. But what if you didn't need to improve? What if the real growth is learning how to sit with yourself in silence without needing to escape? Because the second you can do that, the world loses its control over you. Suddenly, you're not buying into the next trend to feel better. You're not bending over backwards to make someone stay. You're not scrolling for hours just to avoid your own thoughts. You're just present. And in that presence, everything softens. Even your wounds stop screaming. Even your doubts start to quiet down. Even your fears start to feel kind of small. You didn't get there by fighting harder. You got there by stopping the war inside yourself. And let's be honest, that's the peace we're all actually looking for. Not the kind you perform, not the kind that looks good on Instagram, but the kind that feels like home, even when nothing around you makes sense. Because at some point you realize peace was never something outside of you. It was buried underneath everything you were told you had to be. Underneath the overthinking, underneath the guilt, underneath the noise. And the wildest part? It was always available. It was never about chasing it. It was about stopping long enough to feel it. See, once you stop begging for peace, you stop handing over your power. You stop living on edge, waiting for someone else to calm your storm. And when you finally stop holding your breath for life to fix itself, that's when it flows. That's when you flow. No more forcing. No more convincing people to treat you right. No more explaining your worth like you're waiting for permission to be whole. You're done with all that. So if this hit home for you, if something in you softened while listening, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment below. Let someone else feel what you just felt. Because there's someone out there scrolling through chaos right now, just needing one real voice to remind them what peace actually feels like. And if that voice was this one, then you already know. Subscribe, stick around, and let's build something real here. This isn't just content, this is your reset. And we're just getting started.